Hello! Welcome back to That Buzzing Sound. I don't know what it is, but my latest October vacation has kind of put me behind my self-made schedule that I honestly feel out of sorts right now. I do feel quite relaxed. A little too much, if you know what I mean. Thank you again for allowing me the time. There's always a challenge regaining the mass attention after being away, but most of y'all, though silent, always find your way back, which definitely warms my heart. Luckily for you, there's so much content coming your way in the form of our new music shares on the site, our vinyl spotlight series over on YouTube, go subscribe, and these podcast episodes that you'll probably get sick of hearing from me, though I hope you don't, because I love entertaining you. Anyway, on today's program, I had the pleasure of speaking with buzzworthy UK indie darlings in earnest about their powerful self-titled debut EP, which arrived last week to huge acclaim. Which is totally understandable because its singles Put Me Under, Come Upstairs, and 29 spellbound this listener almost instantly upon their releases. For I love the picturesque, lyrical narrative that is covered in this beautifully raw, imperfect distortion that speaks to their complex, passionate, personal feelings towards themselves, each other, and nostalgic daydreams of the youthful, innocent past. This comes from Sarah and Thomas's open and honest conversation around mental health, which they designate as a call from one who feels too much, and a response from the other who must plead for them to stay alive. Recording each song raw in a barn only helped bring out the mystical, dreamlike flavors of what you hear. Hitting play on this project really transports you into their complex, ever-changing shoes, that I feel might hit closer to home for some of you listeners, like it did for me. And that's okay. Because it's the point. Shine a light, speak your truth, and you know it's okay to be honest and sincere. Sarah, Thomas, and Toby have really embraced the call for conversation that they are ambassadors for My Black Dog, a online peer-to-peer support for people struggling with their mental health. We talk all about this, their debut EP, with a little bit of insight about Fables, In Between, and The House, their home of Southend-on-Sea, the key to a great playlist, and a small tease of what lies in store for their musical second chapter arriving soon. This is my conversation with Sarah and Thomas, 2/3 of In Earnest. I just want to say congratulations on the wonderful record that is now out as of this recording. Is there a small sense of relief now that it has been shipped and sent to the world? Because I know it's been kind of done for a while and the lockdown kind of pushed it out. So I'm just curious, like what's your mindset right now? Or
yeah, I mean, it's been a fairly long time coming. We recorded these songs in the summer of 2019. So like any record does, it takes time to mix and master it and to get it ready for people's ears. Also to build it up with singles, which is what we've been doing kind of since April this year, is kind of just dropping a song at a time, working out how to kind of build up to having a first EP release. And I mean, there was some debate among us about whether to carry on with the plans that we had, bearing in mind that, you know, a pandemic was in the in the hands of the world. So we decided to kind of just pretend that there wasn't a pandemic happening and just carry on. But it turned out to be quite a good thing for a new band. It meant that there were lots of people at home looking for stuff to listen to and to look at. So we kind of chose to see the positive in, you know, a pandemic sweeping the world. And yeah, I think it's gone well. But it has been a long time coming, like I say. Some of the songs are a couple of years old. Some of them might have been written maybe 2 years ago. So maybe one of them even longer than that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to feel like it's out in the world. And, you know, there are lots of things that come with that as well, like being taken seriously as an artist. If you've got no releases out, it's very hard for people to invest in you and take you seriously. So yeah, it's a big relief.
Oh, great. So what was the initial approach to the project? Did it start off as like one song and then did it expand, or did you guys just have this, because it kind of feels like a short story when you listen to it, about these characters and what they're going through. It has like a nice cohesive nature to it all.
Well, we originally were going to record 4 tracks. That's what we had planned. We had Monday to Friday with our producer, and we had the first 4. I think it was the first 4.
Yeah.
The first 4 tracks. kind of done by Wednesday, and we were like, okay, what should we do now? So we just decided to pick 2 more that we sort of semi-rehearsed, and they kind of joined on the end, really. So there wasn't really a strategic thing of this is what we're going to do, like a concept EP. It was kind of a bit mismatched, but it kind of works, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
I'd say
go ahead, Tom.
Sorry. I feel like it's us finding our feet. I think we spent a long time when we came out of the band that we were previously to In Earnest. We had a long talk about what we wanted to do, what our goals were, what the kind of ethos was behind the band, and what our message would be. And so part of kind of working all that stuff out has been, recording these songs and writing this first kind of batch of songs. We actually had lots of material to choose from. We had around about 30 songs that we kind of picked through. Some of them haven't even really been looked at as a band yet at all. So there's loads of material for the future. But yeah, it feels like the EP was important, an important step in working out who we are and what we want to sound like, and how we want to present ourselves. So it's all been a bit of a learning curve. I mean, also with this EP, we've done our own PR campaign since April, and it's just been ongoing, partly because of we feel like we can represent ourselves better than anyone. But I guess the other side of that is that there's a massive cost involved if you want a good PR agent to take on your release. But yeah, we've used this first EP to really find out who we are and where we want to go next. And we've actually just recorded EP number 2, which probably won't see the light of day till 2021. But already we feel like we can see the progression from the first EP to the second one. So it's been a good test of like, are we aiming towards the right goals, and are we on track for how we want to present ourselves and what we want the story to be? And I think we are. I think it's gone as well as we could have hoped.
Is it also an EP, the next project, or is it a little bit is it towards the full length aspect?
It is an EP. I don't know really if there's ever a wrong or right stage to kind of look at doing a full 10-12 track record. I believe that we could and we will in the near future, but it felt right to kind of we had this week in September last week that was available for everyone, and it just felt kind of like, let's go and record some more stuff. But it all really kind of each track with the new stuff, it really ties in. They all tie into each other really well, like in terms of their theme and the actual sound and all that kind of stuff. So it will be another EP, but it will be kind of it's quite special. I won't give away too early why it's special, but we really tried to do something cool with it, and we managed to achieve it. And you'll have to wait and see, I'm afraid, on that. I can't divulge anymore.
No, you're teasing. Everyone's getting really excited. It's like, we haven't finished talking about this one. They're like, oh yeah, the next one's it's chapter 2. You can't wait. It's like, I want to read chapter 2, please. Oh, what? Yeah, it's very strange. Like, did that come out? Because I'm sure that came out of the lockdown in some form or fashion. Like the excitement to just finally get out of this box and go do something. Because I've heard that you guys have already started thinking about the next tour. It might be this fall. It might be next year. But like, it just seems like y'all have this project. You want to go promote it, and I'm sure you feel like a lot of us do. It's like, we just want to go out and do our old stuff again and get back on the train.
So yeah, it feels very much like that. I mean, we only rehearsed a couple of times recently, since April. So it's been a time to do other things. But like I said, we've been doing a lot of promo and press work, a lot of kind of sitting at computers and doing emails and stuff like that. The boring stuff, the boring side of being a band, but it's so important as well. So yeah, I mean, the interesting thing for us is kind of not knowing what the future holds in any way, because we've we've only played 2 or 3 shows, and that was at the end of 2019. So, you know, lockdowns happened. We're unable to play any shows to kind of coincide with our releases, which is, you know, what you would normally do. That's what you'd normally find an artist doing to kind of promote their new music. So without that, it's interesting to think that, you know, we're fully geared up for maybe not doing any shows until next year. But even then, as a new artist, it's kind of interesting to see where that goes, because as a new artist, it can be really hard to find shows and to get support tours, that sort of thing. So really, that's kind of a question that's on all of our minds, is, you know, what's it going to be like when we're able to go out and do shows, and what will the response be from promoters and, you know, people involved in putting tours on and shows on. It's all very exciting, and I guess the reason we've put so much hard work into the EP is because it will lead on to, you know, the next stuff that we do, when hopefully the world is in a slightly better place and we're able to go out and do more stuff away from our computers.
We're just itching to say, can we play in your garden?
Yeah. It's like,
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, we just want to be out there and make music and let the world hear it, which is kind of what you guys are doing right now. But like doing online press and like promoting yourselves, it takes a lot of energy. And a lot of artists that I've already talked to, they say you really have to turn yourself into a brand, and you have to like keep like growing it like a plant. And it's just like it's a weird system now, but it's also kind of freeing in a way.
Yeah, I think it's always kind of been like this, except maybe back in the day, you know, you would a lot of artists would have other people taking care of lots of the behind the scenes stuff, which I think is good. It's difficult to do all of it. It is definitely difficult to do everything yourself, but I sort of feel like with the control you have of, you know, doing all your own bookings, all your own press, all your own everything, you can really connect with those people, just like we're talking to you now. If we had management and we had other people in between, maybe it wouldn't be that easy to just connect with you and some other people that we've spoken to recently and been interviewed by. It's nice to have that connection. So I feel like that is one of the real positives of kind of being truly DIY, is that you do everything, you oversee it, you're in control of it, you say what goes, you're not swayed by outside opinions which maybe aren't in your best interest. All that kind of stuff I think is positive.
I agree. It's just also something we just have to do it now, because you don't need those machines to help drive, because like you guys are on a bunch of indie playlists, like people are finding your music through the hard work you're doing, and I find it quite inspiring that it just all it takes is an email sometimes.
Yeah, lots of emails.
lots and lots of emails.
Yeah. Did you hold on to any influences or concept as you explored each song? Because I know you guys kind of work in a songwriting group with Toby, and you guys like bounce ideas off each other, and it's like this nice small session between, like a very intimate session between all y'all.
Yeah, I mean, well, what we were initially inspired by was Phoebe Bridgers, Noah Gunderson, all the Boy Genius girls, Elliott Smith, Dodie, loads of different artists. And so generally Tom or I write the bulk of a song and then kind of bring it into the rehearsal room. And I think it was a little bit of bit of an experiment at the beginning, because we kind of didn't really know what genre we absolutely were going to be. And there was a little bit of a few months of playing around of just like, what kind of sound do we want to be? And so, yeah, channeling our Phoebe and Noah and all those artists.
And also what it's kind of enabled to do is for us to, In Earnest has become a vehicle where each of us can really let our influences shine through in a unique way. So just to give you kind of an idea of the sorts of stuff that we individually listen to. I mean, we all listen to similar music, but equally we all definitely have our own kind of niches and our own kind of stuff we listen to. So Sarah listens to a lot of like piano based kind of, a little bit kind of more commercial than me, sort of singer-songwriter stuff. So you've been listening to like Matt Maltese, haven't you? And I can't think of.
I love the Beatles. I used to read McFly. Some great pop rock groups. I think Toby's more into he's in the folk world, so anything folky really. He's into.
Toby is a folk session musician, so he plays with some really big folkies from like Ireland and Scotland, and does sort of tours with them. So again, his influence is very much on the kind of folk side. And then for myself, I listen to, I mean, a lot of the time I listen to really heavy music. I'm really into like black metal and death metal. It sounds silly, but because the music we play is, nothing like those styles of music. But just to give you an idea that we all listen to different stuff, and some of the dissonance that you'll find in songs. It was mentioned in an interview we did the other day. Someone was saying, well, like these, sometimes you put in really dissonant chords and little bits of kind of musical tension. And I think that comes from the influence from kind of heavier music, where you do, not everything is pretty all the time. And it ties into the idea for us that, life isn't perfect. So why should the musical choices that we make in songs, why should they be perfect? So In Earnest has become a vehicle where each of us can do kind of whatever we want, and as long as we communicate our ideas well enough to each other, we've all got each other's backs. We're all like, yeah, cool, do that. That's awesome. I can see that you want to do that, so let's kind of support each other in doing the things we want to do and the creative decisions that we want to make.
And that makes for a fun work environment, because you're just so excited to hear everyone's input. And I know Toby's kind of like the tie-breaking vote, because you guys always come with a bunch of different ideas and he just absorbs it all. That's what I've heard in passing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, myself and Sarah, like we say, we don't very often write together because we have quite different ways of writing, and so it becomes, one of us will write a song, bring it to the other two members, and then we will kind of, always keeping to the original writer's vision, we will do our best to kind of help the main writer see that through, and make sure that we're playing the right parts, creating the right atmosphere for the intention behind the song. So it's all about kind of supporting each other. I think that's what bands should be, but unfortunately a lot of the time bands and band members can be really driven by kind of ego, and oh, well, this song is boring because my drums are boring. I want to play something fun. But with us, it's not really about anything like that. It's just about serving the song and helping, whoever it is that's fronting the song, helping their vision kind of come to be.
Beautiful. Yeah, I am kind of curious, now that everyone's kind of heard the entire project, can you provide any insight into the second half of the EP for those who have experienced it for the first time recently? Because like it's like Fable, In Between, and the House is just like they're very spellbinding, and it also kind of, I was just curious what those songs kind of mean to you, and any insights in any way, because I have my own opinions on a lot of that stuff.
So Fables is a little bit of a me being frustrated that I can't do certain things or whatever because I can't physically or mentally carry them out, and it's kind of like we're all going to be in graves soon with nothing to show for it. So we need to do whatever we can while we're still alive, and it's just me just shouting about being worthless, really.
It's so powerful. I'm sorry for interrupting, but like it hooked me like instantly. It was just, I found it so remarkably.
Yeah. So Fables is like one of my favorites, and I think that it will be lots of people's favorites. The only reason really that Fables wasn't a single was that early on we kind of set out a release plan, and the 3 songs that we did release as singles, so they are Put Me Under, Come Upstairs, and 29. We kind of worked out that they kind of introduced each band member nicely, and they, especially Put Me Under and Come Upstairs, they kind of talk to each other. They're like a call and response in terms of what they're about. And obviously Sarah's leading one and I'm leading the other. So really, we could have released any of these songs as singles, but we chose to kind of rather than go for the one that maybe we thought was the most accessible or people would like the most, we kind of tried to put them in the context of our story. So what is going to, if we're going to pick 3, what is going to tell the story of In Earnest, and how can we kind of shape all our press stuff around that? But yeah, equally, In Between is a song it's kind of like a love letter to music and being a creative, and hoping that the flame for being creative and for writing won't extinguish itself. And it's a little bit about hoping that people don't, I don't know, kind of not caring what people think. It's a very old-fashioned opinion, and it still exists that why don't you get a proper job? Like, well, we have proper jobs as well. But it's kind of like it's a song about loving what you do and trying to remain truthful as best you can to what you do, and making good art to put out into the world that has substance. And then when we come back around to The House, which is the last track, it's probably like the most kind of quiet and minimalist piece from the EP. That was written with my friend Chris Asher, who is like a guitarist and songwriter, and he's a really good artist as well, like painter. And usually I don't really like to write with someone else, because I find that I can pull the most personal and raw stuff out when I'm on my own. But this one time, this is going back to like the band we were before In Earnest, I sat down and we wrote The House. And originally it was kind of like it was a bit more of like a country sort of vibe, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. But we kind of turned it into this kind of lo-fi, kind of eerie, but kind of welcoming at the same time kind of song. And it's kind of a song about gratitude. So it's kind of a song about having something or someone to kind of be thankful for, someone or something that maybe pulls you out of the darkness when you find yourself in it, and kind of feeling safe within, in reach of that person or that thing that helps you out.
All under the metaphor of a house.
Yeah, all under the metaphor of a house that's dilapidated and falling down. That's kind of how I picture it in my head. Yeah, it's interesting because we spent so much time talking about the 3 singles that it's quite refreshing to be able to talk about all of them now. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I was curious because, again, like, this is a record that I think you guys, you both have spoken about, of being not tailored for radio, even though a lot of playlists have been putting it on, but something that you can just sit down on the carpet, headphones on, and just milk in what you hear. And that's kind of the experience that I kind of want to get to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's, again, we try to write music that we would like to listen to, and in all honesty, we don't listen to the radio. We have strong ideas on what we want to listen to, and we also love scouring Spotify for similar artists to people we love and discovering new stuff all the time. I would say that all of us are as much, fans of music as we are, writers and musicians. And that, again, that's part of kind of the journey, is finding something new. And we all take little pieces of the music that we love, and it ends up in our own music. And I think that's what makes it unique. And it's part of the fun of it, I think, is to hear something you've not heard and it give you an idea for something totally different. I just think that's cool. That's interesting to me.
Are you planning any more videos for the second half songs, or are they going to be their own little special project on the wax?
We have nothing planned for the second half of the songs in terms of music video. I don't think we have we really? We've got a little video of us how we recorded the EP to go over one of the tracks to share, but apart from that, we're kind of, I mean, you don't know what the future's going to hold, so that's maybe our Christmas project. But
yeah, it looks like we're going to go into second lockdown in the UK, so you never know, we might need more stuff to do. I'd love to find like an old abandoned like building of some sort and literally just wander around it, and that be the video for the house. I don't know, something like that just makes sense to me, the idea of the just aimlessly wandering, like the song kind of wanders slowly around.
Wanders into different crevices.
Yeah, into different rooms. So maybe, I mean, that again, that was one of the cool things with, being in lockdown, I guess, was that we had lots of time to think of ideas. And I mean, Sarah used to kind of do like YouTube, didn't you? But hasn't done for years and years. And even with like other bands we were in the past, it never even occurred to us to kind of do to kind of like make your own videos in a really simple way. But when we started talking about the single releases, I kind of just said, I just had this idea. I sort of thought, why don't we pick something that we can make and it won't actually cost anything? Try and make it look cool and vibey in some way. So we've used some kind of like VHS filtery kind of stuff, which I think lends to our music anyway, to the idea that our music is kind of raw and bears all. And so just the videos worked.
And the idea that they're kind of organic fits in with our brand as well, like the fact that we just used our phones to film it and I edited them on the default movie maker thing on my laptop.
Just keeping it simple.
Yeah, just kept it really simple, just with some arty ideas to flow along with the story of the songs.
Yeah, actually the most difficult video to make was the video for 29, and purely because it took us so long to get all of our like old home video stuff from our parents. It took so long that it felt like it was never going to come together.
We started making that. We had the video idea for that in March, and then I only got all the video footage a week before it came out. I had a week to edit it, and
wow,
yeah, it was. I felt very bossy at some points, but yeah,
it came together well. Again, it's all about us trying to be honest with what we do and show who we are, and hopefully people connect with that. I feel like we connect with other artists when we feel that sort of that genuine side, and so that's something we're trying to carry with us throughout everything we do, really, just to keep everything genuine and honest and just real.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to make it so public, because there's so many people feeling the way you guys do sometimes, and like just being outspoken is just the best way to convey that you are not alone, you are here, and I think that's quite wonderful in a way, and it takes a lot of strength, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes natural to me now, just divulging something so personal, because I started a blog based around my mental health about 5 years ago, and so my lyrics and my music is now just an extension of that blog, and so that's why we're so kind of bluntly talking about it, because we just want to provoke those conversations, like the idea that, you know, if someone somewhere has a conversation about mental health because of our music, that's just such a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. It expresses such a, I can't find the words for it, but like it's just so wonderful that you're not running from it, you're using it like a superpower. You're just like, I'm gonna do you consider the South End on Sea your town a magical and inspiring place for your music?
I think in certain ways, yes. I think that, like anyone in any place, when you are used to it and you've been there for a long time, maybe parts of it that you liked, you know, you don't really think about that often. I'm not originally from Southend, but I'm from kind of a half an hour away. But I've lived here for about six years, something like that now. And Toby and Sarah are from Southend. The one thing that Southend really has going for it is there is a lot of music on all the time in all different places. Obviously not right now, but usually there are lots of places where music happens. There are a lot of people who play music, who get together, lots of open mics. There is stuff, stuff happens, and I guess that produces a certain result. It meant we met each other because I met Sarah at an open mic that our friend ran, and we met Toby because of another friend who played music, and we actually used to run an open mic night in Southend. It creates those kind of opportunities to meet different people. Yeah, without open mics, in earnest probably wouldn't be a band. So you can't knock that.
I also think being by the sea is just quite inspiring, really. Like if ever I have a cloudy head day, I just, we just drive to the seafront 5 minutes away, and that sorts me out. It kind of flushes out all those negative thoughts, and it kind of sets you up for the day, really. So having that privilege of being by the sea is definitely good for our writing anyway.
I've always wanted to go down to that part of the UK. I only got to London, and that was kind of overwhelming, especially for someone who it's my first time overseas. So I'm sure I would have loved like the nice small town, sort of quaint sea town vibe of that area.
It's cool. It's only it's about an hour on the train direct from London. So yeah, if you're ever stopping by, come to Southend and we can hang out.
I can't wait to do a whole tour of all the interviews that I've done with the folks in the UK and just like meet everyone, or just have a big meetup when the COVID is gone and we just all play music and just vibe out, man. One of the core questions I ask on this podcast is, normally I ask if making this particular record is any bit therapeutic for you, but that pretty much sums up your music making process, doesn't it? Because it's like an open therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. We were again in another recent interview thing we did. Someone said they were kind of trying to get at whether like things like nostalgia and some of the themes that occur in some of the songs are really important to us, and do we always think about those things? And I think that in kind of answering that question, I realized that actually a lot of what we do, and the reason behind it, is almost for like not to ponder on the past, not to kind of ponder on anything just for the sake of it, but actually to kind of always be learning from your experience. So a lot of self-awareness is involved, and a lot of self-study of things that have maybe happened or things we've felt. A lot of the songs are a result of that self-study, and actually in producing a piece of art out of something that was really difficult or a painful time, that in itself is a beautiful thing to do, and to share that with your other bandmates and to someone who listens to the song and says, I absolutely love that song, and I really identify with that song and that feeling. That's really rewarding. But as well as that, we do get that self-study element where we're always thinking about what our actions and the things we say and how we approach people, all those different things. And it's almost like music, and for us the songwriting process has become a way to explore all those things. So not only do we get the satisfaction of making art, but we're also always learning. And I think that's something that's really important to all three of us, is that we're always learning from our experiences, and we're able to use that knowledge in the future to shape the choices we make and the actions that we take. So I feel like that is a kind of the most present thing in our music, and why we do it. We're always looking inwards and kind of seeing how we can do better, how we can do things differently, see things from other people's perspective, all these like really interesting things. It's almost like getting into like psychology realm, where we study ourselves so much and our thoughts, and we communicate so openly about how we think, how we feel, and how we organize ourselves, all those things. And I mean, it comes up a lot, but the idea that creative people are that much more susceptible to negative thinking and depression and all those kind of all the things that come along with that. I think it's because we're so introspective all the time. We're always thinking about that thing we did yesterday, and did we do it right? Could we have done it another way and got a better result? I feel like it's an important kind of conversation to have, because lots of people struggle with their own kind of negative headspace, or unhelpful headspace. And I feel like we've got the three of us kind of have each other's backs, and we can talk about this and that, and we can ask, what would you do in this situation? And so not only do we get to make music, but we get to kind of have this community that we hope to kind of extend to the people who listen to our music as well. Not to kind of ask, have people asking us questions all the time, but just to be, like Sarah said before, encouraging those difficult conversations, so that someone might reach out to their friend or their family member. So in essence, I've kind of forgotten what your initial thing was now. why we do it, what we get out of writing and being creative. And there's so many things that it's hard to kind of nail it down. We do it for the experience, I guess.
We do it because we have to. We can't see any other way of doing anything.
Yeah,
we have to do music. It's not a choice, really.
I get. There was a quote that Sarah mentioned to me the other day. We're big fans of a writer called Matt Haig, who wrote one of our favourite books called Reasons to Stay Alive, and it's kind of like a memoir about his struggle with his with mental illness. And there's a really good quote in there that I can't remember how it's worded, but it's it sort of says that the whole point of our existence, the whole point of us being here, is just to feel everything, the good and the bad. And again, with our music and our songs, we try to put, to not leave anything out. So we explore the positive, the negative, the light, the dark, however you want to put it. We kind of try and explore all those things so that as kind of an idea for your life, you can be okay with talking about difficult things. And in turn, it makes those difficult things easier to live with and to deal with. So yeah, there are endless reasons why we play music, and I think we're just very introspective people. We're always thinking about all of this stuff. So it's nice to do it in a musical way where other people can kind of enjoy all that stuff going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't have put it better myself.
That was a very long answer.
No, it's fine, because art should give off that feeling, like any sort of art, book, movies. It's like we all kind of love that discussion that sometimes we hide behind, like we don't ever want to have it, but this produces such a medium for us to actually express that. And it also leads into a great transition to talk about My Black Dog, which helps support people struggling with their mental health. Tell me how you guys got involved with it, like tell what it means to you.
So My Black Dog was originally, we saw an Instagram account, and it was for My Black Dog, and it was a mental health related kind of awareness account. And we follow quite a few of those. We like to share mental health related things all the time, things that we think are important, and messages that we think might help someone if they saw it. It's kind of part of the whole ethos behind the band is about spreading awareness, as we've mentioned. So My Black Dog was there on Instagram, and I sent a few different places kind of an email just to say, hey, we're this band, we're trying to create these discussions. If we can kind of hook up in any way and team up to do cool things, then that'd be really good for both of us. And My Black Dog came back, and we sent them some of our music and told them a little bit about our lyrics and stuff.
And we ended up having a call with the founder, and we just talked for ages on the phone about mental illness and how difficult it is. And she was like, "Do you want to be ambassadors for us?" And I was like, "Yes." And so now we're ambassadors for My Black Dog, which is so important because they're currently the UK's only peer-to-peer internet service for like messaging, and it really resonated with me because having struggled with my mental health for 10 years, it's there's such a stigma surrounding it, and I've had so many bad experiences with talking to GPs and doctors and professionals and strangers on the phone, and it evokes so much fear in me that to talk to someone who has experienced it themselves is such a relief.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, right? So all of the volunteers for My Black Dog who will sit on the other end of the computer and talk to someone who's struggling, they've kind of a stipulation of being a volunteer for My Black Dog is that you have to have experienced kind of mental unwellness yourself and struggled yourself, because it's not a crisis line. It's not kind of like where you would call someone like Samaritans. I think you guys probably have Samaritans as well in the States.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So they're not a crisis line, but what they are is a really good gateway into kind of talking to someone who most likely knows what it's like to feel the way you are, and knows a little bit about how to help, what route to take next, all those sorts of really difficult questions. Because as Sarah said, Sarah had seen doctors and found it really difficult to talk to them, and sometimes they come across like they really don't care, can be very unhelpful, and sometimes they don't even know really where to signpost you to go and kind of get your next phase of help if it's something that you do need to get professionally. So yeah, it's so important for there to be someone on the other end of a messenger service that you can talk to about that difficult topic. Again, harking back to the point that if we can normalize these conversations, then they become a lot easier for people to have, and therefore for people to find the help they need.
Exactly.
So it's great to be affiliated with them.
And I love what they do, and you can find out all the information below. Tom, I do have to ask, because I know you love to make a playlist. Like, what's your key to making your great playlists?
I mean, we've made some band ones, and we've kind of tried to like tie them to like a release thematically. So an example of that would be that the first single, "Put Me Under," was very much Sarah's first kind of song about like struggles with mental health. So we made a playlist where it was kind of obvious that all the tracks were around a similar theme, and felt like they fit together. And then we made another playlist when "Come Upstairs" came out, which was it's quite a dark and moody song, which has a very major key kind of ending, like a very resolved ending. So I kind of thought, I'll make a list of like kind of music that contains either both those things, kind of light and dark, aggressive and not, but also really contrasting music. So again, I listen to a lot of super heavy music, which I find emotional, but in a different way. It's kind of a different emotion than a sad song would bring me. And so that was fun to explore. I just love music and combinations of music. The 29, the playlist we made for 29
was an ambitious task.
We
decided to do this playlist called In Numbers, and so we tried to find songs with song titles that had numbers in from 1 right up to 28, that we could put 29 on the end. And it took us a month to try and find songs that we actually liked and that we would listen to with numbers in them. It was quite a task.
There's a lot of different stuff on there. There's like stuff like Ben Folds and the Lone Bellow, and then towards the end there's a metal band that I really like from Australia called Make Them Suffer, and there's J. Cole, so there's a bit of hip hop on there. We just love music, and for some reason we just love making lists.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty silly, but I don't know. I think just organizing your thoughts is something that, I mean, we've already told you we like to do stuff like that. It's kind of like a little geeky passion we have. The same as like we're big readers, so we read a lot. I think both of us have read about 40 books so far since the start of lockdown. There's a lot of reading.
Oh wow.
And like we've just got bookshelves, but it's all super neat and
in alphabetical order.
Yeah, just things like books and like even CD collection, like stuff like that. We I don't know what it is we get from it, but we get something from it, definitely. And the same with playlists. We just love making playlists and kind of seeing a bit like when you make a record and you're trying to sequence the tracks. It's fun to kind of get the journey through the music right, or the way that you want it. And the same goes for like putting a playlist of other people's stuff together. It's, what kind of experience do I want to give to someone else? A bit like back in the day where you'd make a mixtape for somebody, I guess. Although I can't say I've ever done that. But yeah,
I have.
Oh, you have?
Oh, I have, yeah. I've done tape mixtapes. I've done CD mixtapes. I tried to do like a hip hop, I know the feeling. Sarah, Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking for almost an hour now. You have been delightful. You've been insightful. And what I love to do at the end of these interviews before we go is give the mic to you. You have an open platform. Promote the hell out of the record. It is one of my favorite EPs of the year, and I can say that without a doubt. So, mic is yours. Enjoy. talking to the fans.
So our debut EP called In Earnest by In Earnest is out now. It's 6 tracks, and we really hope you like it. And our dog says hi.
Thanks to Justin and that buzzing sound for sharing a good couple of our singles now. It might even have been all of them. We really appreciate the support, and yeah, it's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, thank you.
This episode of That Buzzin' Sound was recorded and edited using a variety of free applications like Audacity and Discord, and is available on such streaming platforms as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, while being fully hosted on Anchor FM. And for more information about My Black Dog, please visit myblackdog.co.